everyone. Welcome to the Not a Lonely Coffee Break podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Meaghan. We're a podcast about coffee and work, but make it queer. Y'all, we had such an amazing time at Pride Kelso. I love the vibe. Everyone was super freaking friendly. And it was the first Pride event in South Lake, Keller area.
Yeah.
So that in itself, to see so many people show up and be supportive and really try to engage with like all the vendors and just like it really built a community. You could tell like all the attendees there were just like, hey, we're here and thank you, And so, yeah, I had a great time.
Oh my gosh, no. It was so fun. And it was like, I mean, we talked about this throughout the day. It was like also like a different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a steady flow of people all day, which was awesome. Like usually there's like lags in your day, but this was like all day. People were coming up, chatting, asking questions, taking iced coffee because we had our little iced coffee book. I think it was a good idea, Meaghan.
I better have been.
Was a little like, oh, Meaghan, I don't want to do iced coffee, but it was worth it. It was a good idea. I'm already looking forward to next year.
Yes, same.
It'll be so fun.
Okay. So, Maddie, you've got to tell me. I've been hearing things. The new Taylor Swift album is out, and I know you're a Swiftie. So you got to give it to me. What is it? What's going on? Is it good?
So first of all, I am a Swiftie. Let's just get that out of the way. My wife and I both are Swifties. Okay, so initial thoughts. When I first heard it, I was kind of like, I don't know, like I enjoyed the beats, I enjoyed the songs or whatever, but it wasn't until we went and watched the little movie. And basically all the movie was like she compiled all of the lyric videos for all of the songs together and then did like a little, I love this song so much. And so it like I really got to listen to all of the music and the lyrics, and it made me really like it more. But I think it's one of those you have to listen to it a couple of times before you're like, I enjoy it. I've also been hearing, Meaghan, some of the back and forth.
Okay.
Of people either loving it or hating it. This is my take on people who don't hate, who, if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it. No one is forcing you to sit and listen to it. And I think that there are probably people who are just going to hate everything that Taylor Swift puts out because this happens every time she does anything. The other thing that I'm seeing is a lot of people are upset because they don't feel like it matches the same level of like lyrical abilities as some of her like other stuff. And it's like, you can still go stream that record if you like it more. Like this one didn't delete or erase any of her old work. And so, yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's Taylor Swift and her happy era. And I just think that people don't like her when she's happy.
Yeah, that I did see that. They were like, I like it better when she's heartbroken. I'm like, y'all are such freaking haters. And I, for the record, I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan. I listen, it's something I grew up with. Like, it's catchy. I do like her songs. I've seen her in concert. Yes. I think I'm excited. I think we have to remember like the music that she was doing is because she's growing at the same time she's writing this music, like literally aging, y'all, going through different experiences.
Yeah.
So really the album I'm looking forward to is the one after she gets married.
When and that's, I think you touched on it, right? She has always written about her personal experience, whether it's heartbreak or being in love. And she just happens to be at a stage in her life where she's happy. She feels like she's on top of the world. She feels like she's got the greatest partner in the history of partners. And so why wouldn't she want to write about that? And sing about that if that's what she does for a living. And so, yeah, I think that she's just in her happy era and we need to just enjoy this record and stop being so critical.
Yeah,
People are just so critical. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Did you write? Are you Taylor Swift? Are you able to write those lyrics? Are you a music expert?
It's too
Remind me the last time that you had a #1 hit.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah.
please.
Seriously. So yeah, looking forward. Thank you, Maddie, for your explanation. I'm not very good with pop culture, so I'll keep that in mind. So I will give it another try. So it's time without to welcome Miss Shannon Walker. I've known Miss Shannon for oh goodness, since 2020,
Yeah.
2019-ish.
Mhm.
So it's been a little over 5 years.
Mhm.
I met Shannon when I was working at a nonprofit doing DEI work. She spoke for us, and I'd seen her out in the community, and I
Mhm.
absolutely love her org. I love the work she does. So I'm not going to
Mhm.
say any much more because I don't want to ruin the episode. But everyone, please welcome Miss Shannon Walker from NuTrans Movement.
Woo! Yay!
Hello.
Hello.
Please. So,
We're so excited to have you join us.
yes, thank you so much.
I'm excited too. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Shannon, for coming on the show. I'm so excited to share you with the rest of the world because
Mhm.
honestly, I was just telling them how when I first met you a couple years ago, it's been actually probably
It's
more
been a
than
minute.
5, 6 years now, which is
Mhm.
wild. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
been a while, but I love everything that you do. So if you don't mind, could you just share us a little bit about yourself
Of
and
course.
anything on your
Well,
journey?
thank you so much for having me on. One of the things I love to do is talk about myself. Um, so again, thanks very much. And yes, we have known each other for a while. I've seen growth in the both of us, like from then till now. So congratulations on your accomplishments as well. But I'm Shannon Walker from Dallas,
Thank you.
Texas, from the South, southern Dallas near the Fair Park. Born and raised over in that area. Went to school to the elementary, and most of my education was over in that area as well. Um, yeah, so the usual Southern upbringing. My mom was a religious lady, and me being a young LGBTQ plus kid, and back in the early '90s, there wasn't a whole lot of resources for parents that had transitioning kids or gay kids or
Mhm.
and then in the South, there's always that stigma of gay. And so there was that trauma and all
Mhm.
that was associated with my childhood due to the fact of me being, trans as a kid. And throughout all that, I overcame all that and finished school. Everything that happened in my childhood as a result of all that, all the trauma and everything my mom and I went through, it kind of set me up for advocacy. So that's kind of how I transitioned into advocacy pretty young. Wanted to just help all the new and younger trans people that was coming behind me, wanted to make their journey into the life and the experience a little bit more comfortable and manageable because mine was full of trauma and full of being homeless. And, I went through a little bit of doing a little sex work just from experiencing that homelessness and being introduced to some of those people. And then eventually leading to some prison time, getting it involved with the wrong crowd. So yeah, that's kind of my story. But now I'm over at Hunter College finishing up my public health degree. And then I just got accepted into a master's program, where a dual master's, where the social master's in social work and master's in public health over at the Silver at NYU. So I'm just excited to channel everything that I've done in my youth and all the advocacy work that I've done over the years with the nonprofit that I've been working with, and just continue to improve the quality of life for transgender people.
That's awesome.
I love that. Every time I hear part of your story, Shannon, I'm always just like, "Oh my gosh, you have overcome so much." I know that you just kinda shared that you did come out
hmm
earlier in your childhood, but what was maybe a particular time in your life that you knew you wanted to live authentically as yourself?
Well, I've always been pretty rebellious. So, in my early teens, I can remember a time that I was meeting more, well, going back, sometimes, being LGBTQ as a kid can kind of feel a little solitude when you don't really have a community, you don't know anybody else. But at my junior high school, in high school, I met other gays and other young LGBTQ people who were kind of in the same situation as I was kind of looking for some guidance, looking for a community. And that's when I knew, when it kind of I was affirmed that I was living in my truth and I was headed in the right direction. And one of the nonprofit directors in the community reached out to me because I was kind of speaking around at the schools and doing student government work. And I was on all of the gay and lesbian alliances in all the schools. So one of the nonprofit directors in South Dallas reached out to me and gave me my first opportunity to speak about my experience in my life and just being Black and trans and about all that for the Dallas parole and probation department, and just so they can kind of better understand the experiences of trans people. And that led on to the trainings with the Dallas Police Academy. And so that affirmed me more with the trainings, and I've just been growing on that experience. And so, I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's super cool. Like, I mean, honestly, I've always seen you as like a really, I don't even know how to say it, but you're always beaming with life, first off. And so, like, for you to be able to like go in and share your experience and say, hey, like, yes, like we go through trouble and hard times and things like that, but, beautiful things can come out of it, and you've definitely showed that, especially with, like you said, like advocating to police departments and parole. Like,
Thank
that's
you.
huge. That's awesome. So is that basically what kind of drove you to create NuTrans
Yes,
Movement?
just kind of seeing the lack of resources and guidance that was available for young people, real feminine people such as myself that were really transitioning, but we weren't aware of what was going on. But yes, I was just like, wow, it just kind of shocked me. And then some of the treatment that young Black trans people get when they go into some of the resource centers and places that are the systems that are built to provide there was just a lot of discrimination and just transphobia. So yeah, I wanted to educate the community about the trans experience and to let everybody know we are here and we have needs that need. I wanted to help the trans people that were marginalized and just really didn't have a voice to speak or didn't know what to say. So yeah, I've had run-ons in the community with quite a few people that were giving pushback against just, doing the basic things like adhering to pronouns. So yeah, that's kind of where NuTrans Movement came from. And we've grown to be operational in Texas and New York now. And we've been providing name changes in New York in addition to
Okay.
Texas, along with the
Wow.
gender front, the resources and the referrals and all that good stuff. So we're still doing the work. And one of my coworkers actually told me today, she was like, you kind of mirrored what you said. She said, you always smiling and you always have such a bright, positive attitude. And I was kind of shocked that kind of shocked me to hear myself, but I really do. And I guess I think about the alternative of just being down and depressed. And I remember when I was that way a long time ago. And that's just a place that I really don't want to go back to. So I continue to just have hope and continue to do what I can to make a difference and just be committed to put one foot in front of the other, just like everybody else.
Mm. I love that. And that was one reason why Megan and I were like, we have to have Shannon on the show because we know that our trans community right now is being especially targeted and further
Mhm.
marginalization is occurring just with everything going on. And we were like, we want to have a guest on who can convey
Mhm.
that hope and joy and that it is still possible even though we have
Mhm.
all of these nasty hurdles. Curious just because, we know that you do spend a lot of time advocacy with trainings, with providing resources, referrals. What are some perhaps unique obstacles and challenges that you're seeing the community face now that maybe wasn't as big of a hurdle in the past?
Well, there's quite a few things. Gender affirming care has been made pretty political in the past few years. In addition to the Texas, we have worked so hard to build those resources. Texas had a robust array of resources for people who were trans and non-binary and looking to build on their transition. But, like the driver's license, like the gender markers on driver's licenses and all that stuff has been banned. That's just critical to trans people surviving and thriving in those parts of the South. So, and then just those that are in the marginalized communities that are at the intersection of being Black, on top of that in the South, and just adding that trans element to it, that just layers all the complications that they're going to have and that they can face. And that was another reason I came up here to New York City, so I could try to build that pipeline for people who were wanting to leave the state, because there have been even trans people leaving the country. So, yeah, I mean, there's not anything that we can do, but we can continue to, I continue to rally, and, that's just showing your commitment and spreading your voice, and that's always good. But at this point, we're just kind of just bracing, and I just tell people to just hang on, because never give up. If I'd gave up way back then when I was young, sleeping under the bridges and stuff, who knows, I wouldn't be here today. So always just hang on. You never know what tomorrow brings. It's a whole new day, a whole new, sunrise. So, and there's a host of opportunities that comes with that sunrise. So just hang in there. That's always my message to people, hang in there, because it does get better.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear, because I was curious, if you were still doing work in Texas. So that is really reassuring to hear that you're supporting, both sides of it, those who may be staying in Texas or just trying to find a safer home by moving. But yeah, I mean, it's rough. And we've talked about it several times on the show, just like how quickly we can spiral into like fear and anger and um just like this sense of not knowing of what's coming. And it's easy to just go down that hole. But, that's why I love doing this and speaking with people like you who have, who bring such a good light to the world, and who are like, hey, look, even though it's going bad, like there are still people out here to support you. So even though you feel alone, there's always somebody out there that is willing to hear you out and support you. So yeah, I love that. So no, you've gone through a lot. You've created NuTrans. You're going back to school for your master's, which is whew. So it's like, I feel like I'm going to ask this question, but I also feel like I can see that you have so much in front of you too. So, when is like a moment, like as you've been building all of this, is that you've really felt validated and especially proud of yourself?
There's a couple stories. Well, the first one is the nonprofit. I have just built that one just from the ground up, which is how most grassroots organizations do start. But the fact that I have, been able to hang on to that organization, and I've been wanting to give up so many times, and people have committed to coming on that really never do. And so that's something that I'm proud of. Changing, facilitating almost 150 name changes, of people in the, Texas region. That is iconic. Like, I don't know a single individual that is responsible for anything like that, just for trans people. And so, I'm very proud of it. I don't talk enough about it and I don't boast enough about it, but I'm very proud of that. And one day I was driving in Dallas, and I guess I had a brake light or something out. And I was pulled over, and the police officer pulled me over, and he came to the window and he was asking me for my identification. And he told me that I had a light that was out. And then he came back and he was like, "You're Miss Walker?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Miss Walker, you trained my class." He said, "I'm just so, I respect what you do so much." He said, he said, "My nephew," he corrected himself. He said, "My nephew is trans." And I was just, when that day when I left that training, I went home and I was just like telling him all this stuff, and his mind was blown. And I was just sitting there like, oh my God. So he was like, "Here's your driver's license." He said, "Yeah, please just get that light switch." He said, "But thank you so much for everything that you do." And he was like, "You can go." And I was just sitting there. I couldn't even drive off. I was just like, oh my God, that was like something like, wow, like, are you serious?
That
So that was another moment, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a powerful moment. That's wild.
that really is that just, like, tugged on my little social work heartstrings of, like, his nephew felt so
Mhm,
seen when he came home
mhm.
and was, like, sharing all this stuff, like, we need that. We need more stories
Yeah, it
like
was sweet.
that. I love that.
That was
Yeah,
sweet.
that's amazing.
I actually was also I was thinking, in Texas, there's a lot going on, and we know that all trans people and non-binary people are kind of being targeted, but specifically those youth, those kiddos. What are some tips that maybe you would provide for parents or even the youth themselves who are trans or non-binary and are feeling a little hopeless? What are some maybe tips that you might think of that could keep them safe, that could keep them motivated to keep going and continue to live authentically as
Yeah, of
themselves?
course. And you're right. They are. It's like crazy the way that things are, the trajectory. But there are some strong and tough mama bears out there. You know, I know several, Wendy, Rachel, I know quite a few.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And they will like get on you pretty quickly, you know, if so. But there's a community of mamas and, you know, mama bears out there. And for those who don't, um find, you know, a find a support group or find someone that you trust that you can talk to, because things get heavy, you know, and regardless of how strong you may feel, we all need
Mhm.
to talk to someone at some time. And I would encourage you to reach out and talk to someone if when things do get heavy, but remain confident and strong, you know, in yourself. Never waver. Well, I didn't. I know people's situations are different, and I've come to understand that people's, you know, situations are different. So just remain strong and reach out to a community. Speak to someone if you feel things are getting heavy.
I think that's perfect. I actually have been working with some parents whose kiddos are somewhere on the gender spectrum, trans, non-binary, gender fluid, all of them. And that's kind of been a running theme in our time together is like, how can I show my kid that I support them, but also wanna keep them safe in this bubble, because there are so many people in our
Mhm,
state right now that are just coming at them, and
mhm,
that's kind of been something they've been talking about is just
mhm,
how can we show up for each other as parents?
mhm.
We can get our kids together so that they have that community within themselves. We have that community as um, mama bears, papa bears, whoever it is, that we can just wrap our arms
Mhm.
around each other when we need them. And so I think
But
that's
you
perfect.
know,
That's perfect
when I
advice.
was,
Mhm.
some of my educators and counselors at school were some of my most trusted people that I communicated with, because I couldn't talk to my mom at home. So I would communicate with, you know,
Mhm.
people that were at the school.
Mhm.
They knew me on first name basis. Sometimes I was in their office just sitting down just because there was something going on in the school or someone was bullying, just whatever was going on. I always had a corner in the school with there was always a safe space within the school that I could go to, because I couldn't take those problems home during that time. So that was kind of
Mhm.
my alternative, was to either go to one of those adults within the school that always provided a safe space for me or build community, which is a lot easier now than it was back then, I guess. And so we provide a lot of support groups even within the organization. We have just regular general support groups. We have youth support groups. We have HIV support groups for people who are positive that just want to kind of discuss that experience. And just, it's hard not being a funded organization. I would like to provide more, but we have never been funded. We've never been able to get funded. And I've been doing, in Texas, I was doing sex work to fund my nonprofit organization. I was having parties and mixers and all kind of stuff that were paid by Johns, and I talk about that quite a bit. It's not a secret. We have to do what we have to do. There's just not. I always think of it as like the political climate right now. To be honest with you, there's not enough pushback from the community in regards to what's going on with the trans people. That's just how I feel personally. I don't talk about it a lot, but it's just not. And but I know that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
But we're just taking it. We're getting hammered on right now, like left and right. I'm fearful of just walking out my door, to just be 100% honest. But I do it every day because I know that there are other trans people that are like looking at me, that are, you know, taking note and that are paying close attention to how I manage and how I deal with stressors and things like that. So I just, that's one of the ways that I do maintain and stay strong and stay positive, because I don't want other people to waver, younger trans people to see me and then feel like, oh, damn, all hope is gone. If Miss Shannon, she's the brightest one, the brightest color in the box. If she's dimming, then it's all hope is lost. So, I just have to do what I can to just be strong for myself and for those that I love, which is the trans and non-binary community.
Yeah, wow. Well, I admire you so much. Just you able to go day to day and to fight for what's right, essentially, and fight for the freedom and justice of trans people. So thank you. Thank you, Shannon. Because you're right.
I
There
know.
isn't enough pushback, and there should be more outcry as far as what is going on. And yeah, it is scary. But I'm just glad we have people like you who are out there and willing to stay in it for sure.
I also am curious, and Shannon, we are putting you on the spot a lot.
I
None of
know.
these questions were sent to you, but I just hearing you speak, it just gets my mind going. So you mentioned you don't feel like there's enough pushback, which you're absolutely correct. But coming from your perspective as a trans person, what are some things that we as a community can do to show true allyship to our trans brothers and sisters and siblings, um, to let them know that, like, we are here with you, we stand with you, we fight with
Well,
you, all of those things.
I think providing space, providing like more safe spaces. There's not enough of those for trans people right now. Um, I know the average person would be like, "Well, girl, a trans person can just go to the regular workforce place and use the computers, or just like everybody else." But that's not really, trans people. Just more safe spaces for trans and non-binary people to be. Um, and speak to some of your people who are in charge to change some of the policy that is being implemented.
All right. So to lighten it up a little bit, and we ask everybody this, so it's really important.
Okay.
The most important
It's
question.
the most important question. We've got to know, what is your go-to coffee beverage?
Okay. My go-to coffee beverage would be I'm sorry, I have to repeat the question. Just a
And if you don't like
plain
coffee, that's
vanilla
okay.
iced coffee. I don't really drink coffee, but when I do go, it's just a vanilla iced coffee. That's pretty much it.
That's
That's
I like
fine.
vanilla flavoring, that's my favorite flavoring for sure.
Well, it's just the sweetness and all that. I get like 2 or
Yeah,
3
it's the
pumps. I'm like,
perfect amount.
get an extra pump. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we got to have that little pick me up. That's why we do the show. Come on. It's for the coffee, really. But
I just drink it too fast.
That is true too. You're like chugging this high energy caffeine drink and you're like, whoa. Yeah, that's why I can't do the iced coffees too much because yeah, I'll chug it.
This was such a great conversation. And we're so grateful, Shannon, to you and your work, your advocacy, everything that you do for the trans and non-binary community. Keep it up and keep letting us know how we can all continue to support you and show up. Again, we are so thankful that you agreed to join us today in your busy life in New York. I'm so jealous.
Well, thank you very much for creating space for, for people to understand the trans experience in life because there's not a whole lot of places that are doing, that right now. Thank you very much. Trans visibility is important. So I appreciate that. We all appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. We love you so much. So, listeners, if you want to support Shannon and the work that she does, we'll put the NuTrans Movement information in the description.
Thank you.
So
That was an amazing conversation, first off.
oh my gosh, I just love Shannon so much.
I
She's
love
so
her too.
wonderful.
It keeps me going, first off, to see how much she's gone through, persevered, and is just like doing the most. It's amazing. I wish she could put me in her pocket and I could just follow her everywhere. And I could just be part of that.
I find her to be so I just find her natural sort of just joy and demeanor just to be so uplifting. And I know that was one thing that you and I really wanted when we were thinking about this episode was who is a guest that can help create this more hopeful vibe. And so I was so glad that Shannon said yes because she was the top of both of our lists. We both were like, Shannon, it has to be Shannon.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised we didn't get her on sooner.
I know.
So,
We'll have to
because
have her
she's
on
literally been
again.
on our list since the inception of this podcast.
I know she has, but we'll have to have her on again.
Yes,
like a
I think
regular
so.
occurrence. So Shannon, be ready.
Be ready. You don't have
Which
to.
also brings me, listeners, we did actually spend a little bit of extra time with Shannon outside of this episode. Shannon hung out with us and played a little fun game. So if you want to watch us play a quick little game of Hot or Nots, you can head on over to our Patreon where you can see that short little, it's not super long, but you can see that short, fun little game and maybe play along with us.
Is it hot or is it not? And secondly, join the coffee break crew. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Maddie, I think I'm out of coffee.
I for sure am out of coffee for today.
Yeah.
Which means that is our cue to wrap up. But thank you all for joining us for, a great episode. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already.
And then be sure to be connected with us on our socials. Continue the conversation. We'd love to hear your questions and hear your experience with navigating the workplace. We love hearing from you.
Absolutely. We love social media. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads, Patreon. And of course, you can always check out the show on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. So that way you can continue listening to us and share it with your friends. We hope that you will continue to join us for Not a Lonely Coffee Break. Again, we are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Meaghan.
Cheers, queer.